Top of the morning to you from New York City. This is Joe Lemire with your morning Buzzcast for Tuesday, May 20th, and we are just hours away from the start of Force, our annual conference on the intersection of sports and entertainment. It's a loaded lineup, with Devin and Jason McCourty serving as event hosts, and speakers, including Pro Football Hall of Famer Michael Strahan, Olympic gold medalist Shaun White, Michael Jordan's longtime agent David Falk, sports personality Katie Nolan, Giants linebacker Kayvon Thibodeau, and executives from MLB, NASCAR, the NFL, ESPN, Unrivaled, and teams like the Bulls, Mets, and Liberty. The Harlem Globetrotters will be there too. Still not too late to grab a virtual pass and tune in. The NBA Conference Finals begin tonight in Oklahoma City, where the Thunder will host the Timberwolves. Tomorrow night, just a few blocks away from the Sports Business Awards, will be the Knicks hosting the Pacers in their first playoff game. It's a new-look Final Four, as only one of these teams has ever won an NBA championship in their current home, and as many of my long-suffering neighbors in New York can tell you, the last Knicks title was way back in 1973, which by my count is a lot of years, more than 50 in fact. Coincidentally, that's the same year the Indiana Pacers won their last ABA title, but they've never won an NBA crown. The Seattle Supersonics did win the NBA Finals in 1979, but that was long before they packed up and moved to Oklahoma City. And the Timberwolves have never reached the finals, although Minnesota did win 4 of the first 5 NBA titles playing as the Minneapolis Lakers, although that last one was way back in 1954. The NBA is guaranteed to have its 7th different champion in the last 7 years, the longest such run in league history, and a great testament to its parity. That pent-up demand will surely help drive secondary ticket prices in local markets. The get-in-the-door price for a pair of Knicks tickets on SeatGeek this morning was $728 each. Courtside tickets, well, as close as you can get behind the VIP row, were listed at more than $21,000 a piece on SeatGeek. Who knows if they'll get that price, but that's showing what the demand is like. Oklahoma City ranged from $123 to get in the door to nearly $1,300 for some primo seats. We'll see what the TV ratings are like, too. Certainly the Knicks will be a boon for TNT, which is covering the entirety of the Eastern Conference Finals. This is, of course, its swan song as a live broadcast rights partner before the league's new TV contract starts in the fall. Major League Baseball had some strong attendance marks to report from its inaugural rivalry weekend. Booking.com is the title sponsor for this new regular season event, which consolidates many of the sport's biggest rivalries into concurrent series. The top-line numbers are impressive. More than 1.6 million fans across 45 games. That's an average gate of more than 35,700. Those are the best total and average figures for any weekend prior to Memorial Day since 2012. There were inter-city, interstate, and inter-regional rivals like Mets-Yankees, Rangers-Astros, Guardians-Reds, and Dodgers-Angels, not to mention the start of the Vedder Cup, the charitable endeavor linked to the Pearl Jam frontman and contested by the Mariners and Padres. Eddie Vedder designed the trophy himself and is donating a guitar. We'll, of course, see if this is all additive to the season-long figures, or whether bringing so many higher-profile series together means there might be dips at other times. But adding more interest to the schedule in the first half of the season, especially when so many schools are still in session, can really only be seen as a net positive, no matter how those figures play out. I want to highlight some big news in this week's SBJ from our Rob Schaefer, who broke the story that the USTA is spending $800 million, its largest single investment to date, to renovate the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center. The work is already underway and will be completed in phases, with all of it to be finished by 2027. No interruption to the tournament is expected. About $550 million is earmarked for work in Arthur Ashe, the showpiece center court of the facility. It already received a retractable roof a few years ago, and now will get an updated and modernized fan experience to put it on par with other major sports venues, and to be a one-stop destination for fans with all the premium hospitality offerings that have become par for the industry. There will be 8 new clubs at Ashe. Schaefer spoke to CEO Lou Scher, COO Daniel Zossner, and CCO Kirsten Corio, with Corio noting that the USDA's experiential hospitality revenue has more than doubled over the past 2 years. And she said demand for courtside and lower bowl seating had outpaced supply. Elevate has been working with the USDA since 2020 and recently doubled its dedicated U.S. Open sales team. while the USTA also hired Laura Lufton, a former NFL club business development vice president. USTA pro tennis head Stacey Allister also shared plans about the remaining $250 million of allotted investment to build a new player performance center that will replace the current, let's just call it, cramped space underneath Ash. It'll have larger facilities, a player-only cafe, and much more in 150,000 square feet of amenities. Later this week, Prime Video begins its NASCAR coverage, starting with the Coca-Cola 600, the first of 5 races on the docket for Amazon Streamer. This will be the first NASCAR races in which there will be no linear TV option. As our Adam Stern wrote, Amazon is leaning into its multiple business verticals: a Shop the Race experience that includes a second screen e-commerce feature, AWS statistical analysis, an Amazon Music theme song from Eric Church and John Fogerty, and more. Prime will include an extended post-race analysis show, and for the upcoming Mexico City race, it'll also add drone coverage to showcase the hybrid street and road course, a notably elongated track for which viewers will benefit from a sense of space and location. In international soccer news, The Athletic reported that the 75th FIFA Congress in Paraguay last week was an unexpectedly turbulent gathering. FIFA President Gianni Infantino apparently delayed his arrival in order to join President Trump in Saudi Arabia. That turned one meeting into a video call, and then he arrived many hours late, according to The Athletic, prompting the UEFA congregation to walk out midway through the Congress. Also reportedly emerging from the meetings were another lowering of ticket prices to the Club World Cup in the U.S. this summer, as demand has not yet met expectations. Furthermore, Vice President J.D. Vance said recently that though the U.S. wants international fans to visit the U.S. to watch games, he added, quote, "But when the time is up, they'll have to go home." In speaking to the FIFA Congress on Thursday, Infantino tried to assuage fears by saying the world is welcome in America. But as Canada coach Jesse Marsh said on Monday, and remember, Marsh is an American, he said he understands why Canadians might not want to travel to support their team at this summer's CONCACAF Gold Cup, saying, "I could see trepidation for anyone looking to travel to the U.S. at this current political climate," end quote. 13 of the 14 Gold Cup venues are in the U.S., with the remaining stadium in Vancouver, where Canada will play its first game. Also of note in that athletic story was the prospect of the 2038 World Cup, which seems awfully far away, and yet it's the next unassigned version of the men's tournament. The existing rule is that any confederation that hosts has to sit out 2 cycles before being considered again. Given that the 2030 version includes 3 confederations, the tournament is split among Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina in CONMEBOL, Spain and Portugal in UEFA, and Morocco from the African Federation. And 2034 is in Saudi Arabia, which is part of the Asian Confederation. Then really only North America and Oceania remain. New Zealand Federation CEO Andrew Pragnell told The Athletic of his nation's interest, and in true Kiwi pragmatism, noted that of course New Zealand couldn't meet the demands of hosting the whole thing, although it could certainly handle a group stage. Australia, notably, is not part of Oceania and is part of the Asian Confederation, so replicating the 2023 Women's World Cup with those 2 countries isn't possible under current rules. That prompted New Zealand to suggest hosting it with the U.S., which would technically be eligible again. Pragnell even added how the Paris Olympics had sailing events in Tahiti. In other words, creativity abounds. There's also the prospect of the U.S. sharing the 2031 Women's World Cup with Jamaica and Costa Rica. All this is to say that sharing the tournament seems to be in vogue, and this is all very early ruminating, of course, but an interesting idea how to manage the FIFA rules on World Cup hosting for that 2038 tournament. I will also say this, as someone who married into a New Zealand family and has visited that spectacular country 3 times, I endorse any and all ideas that might get me back there, especially if it's, on the company dime. Our Terry Lefton reports that Pepsi head of sports marketing, Justin Toman, is leaving that post to take over Verizon's sports and entertainment marketing, filling the vacancy created by the departure of Nick Kelly to start his own agency. Toman was an SBJ 40 under 40 honoree in 2017 and has spent 18 years at PepsiCo, with 12 in sports. In a past life, reporting for Sports Illustrated, I'm thinking back to the 2007 to 2010 era, I spent a lot of time covering college hoops and even some high school recruiting. Some of the familiar names at that time were Michael Beasley and Lance Stevenson, and let me tell you, I sure did a double take yesterday when I saw both of them back in the news. Not only are they playing a one-on-one game on June 6th for a $100,000 prize as part of a YouTube series called The Next Chapter, well, they also might end up being teammates in the Big Three League. But not if Beasley has his way. He was already set to be part of the Miami 305 expansion franchise, but then his team drafted Stevenson number 1 overall, and NBA insider Chris Haynes reported that Beasley is now contemplating a trade request to get away. The two were teammates on the Lakers back in 2018-2019, and I will confess I didn't realize either was still playing ball. That's all for me today. I hope to see you in New York City later today or tomorrow. For the Morning Buzzcast, this is Joe Lemire signing off. Have a great day.